What is up, everybody, and welcome to the REIL Talks podcast. My name is Mike Singletary.
And I am Frank Chen, and we are going to be your hosts. And what we're going to do is break down what it takes to live life on your terms through entrepreneurship, specifically real estate investing.
So we're going to hit it hard, the good, the bad, and the real, because that climb, as any entrepreneur knows, is never smooth. So let's get real. Hey, this is our guest, Shaun Young. He's an investor since 2016. He's closed hundreds of deals. He's an author of The Adventures of Wholesaling. Let me show you how. Now, this guy's a true go-giver. He's a podcast host of Nationwide Real Estate Mastery podcast, which I can't wait to be on. So you definitely want to check that out. He's going to give you actionable steps in his podcast on how to navigate this journey of real estate investing. So that's super cool because, I mean, obviously there's a lot of steps to get from A to Z, you know what I'm saying? And you really laid it out. Now, he also owns REIWorldSolutions.com. It's a VA service that provides trained VAs to investors. Did I miss anything, brother?
You have not missed a beat, man. You're right on it, man.
All right. Well, awesome, brother, because you and I align in a lot of different ways, like I said, man. But first, enough about that. We have plenty of time to get about that. Let's talk about you, man. Let's talk about your journey. Where'd you come from, brother? I mean, how'd you get here? The whole nuts and bolts of it.
Sure. Quick background on Mike. I come from a sales executive background. I was, for 8 or 10 years, I was the top 3% in the nationwide. Nice. My company was based in Sweden. They changed the CEO in North America. The new North American CEO was from America, and he decided to bring in his whole new workforce, project managers, sales force. Everybody was changed. So just like that, 750 of us were out of a job just like that. So I told myself I'll never be in a position again where a job can dictate my future.
I'm assuming that's around 2016?
Yep, that's right. 2016, 2015.
All right. What happened, brother?
So, so after I was laid off, guys, it was like I said, it was a blow to my mental state. That was my whole identity was tied around, my performance at this job. I made a solid 6-figure income. Yeah. So I was pretty nervous, but, I heard that real estate was a great avenue and a great vehicle to find financial freedom. So I said, I'm going for it. So this is what I did, guys. I went to a seminar. They do these traveling seminars that go to hotels, in all cities. I'm not going to mention the gentleman's name, but I went to the seminar. At the end of it, they get you all hyped up. I went to the back. I whipped out my credit card and I laid out $30,000, guys.
Yeah, so
a whole year. I didn't do anything but go through courses, watch DVDs, listen to tapes. I mean, it was crazy, right? So I figured either I'm the dumbest guy out here trying to do this, or this real estate thing just isn't for me. So I almost quit. Almost gave up, guys, because I was getting a lot of job offers to come back into the workforce. But guys, I Googled this. I said, creative ways to make money in real estate. I didn't even know what I was saying, but I literally said that. Ron LeGrand's course pops up, 99-cent course. I take that 99-cent course. I go through it in 2 weeks. I make 8 phone calls. 6 don't answer. The 7th is a realtor, and the 8th phone call yielded me a $72,000 sandwich lease option. That was my interest into the business.
Dude, that's a pretty big deal, man, for the first one. So you went a whole year without doing anything. Like you just sat there, like analysis paralysis type of stuff, which a lot of people get stuck in, truthfully, man. You know what I'm saying?
I was taking action, but it wasn't the kind that you should take. I was becoming a professional student. I was getting course after course after course after video after next module 62-8. So I just kept going. I never had any action steps to take. I was super confused, and I was, like I say, I almost went back to the workforce, guys.
So what made you? Was it when you went and took LeGrand's course? Was there like some kind of breaking point where, like, man, what happened right then that made you actually move forward in comparison to the rest of the times?
Man, what it was is I was running out of money, Mike. My severance package was running out. I've got a family. So I had to make a decision. I was getting a lot of job offers for, 6-figure sales positions. And I said, I've got to do something, right? So I said, I'm going to give this another 30 days. And that's literally what I did. So I went in and Googled creative ways to make money in real estate. Ron LeGrand's course popped up. He was my first mentor, guys. A sandwich lease option is a deal where you get the opportunity to get paid 3 times up front, in the middle during the spread, and at the end when that deal actually closes. So I used the first set of money the non-refundable option fee that I got up front to actually buy a real coach his name is Tom Kroll. I think you know him as well. Good friend of ours.
Yeah, I didn't talk to him last week.
Absolutely. So Tom has been a good friend of mine since way back when. And I needed that coach. I needed that mentorship to help me with the next steps of my career. So within 30 days after getting Tom on board, I had 11 deals under contract. 7 of those actually closed. Didn't get another deal for another 8 months, but that's a whole nother story.
So hold on. So were you primarily wholesaling, or were you doing any fix and flipping at the beginning?
Guys, I had no clue what any of this stuff was called. I just thought real estate was real estate. So with the sandwich lease option, I thought that was a
hard one, brother. That's a hard one.
Yeah, that is a hard deal to do, guys.
I wouldn't advise starting
that was my first deal. And
I'm
thinking that was wholesale. I'm like, okay, this is wholesale. I could do this. But then no, so I got a coach. He actually showed me what wholesaling was. And like I said, I hit the ground running. And I thought it was so easy that I became a victim of my own success. And what I mean by that, Mike, is that I didn't do follow-ups. I just thought I could send out these mailers, make a couple of calls. And just like before, I get that similar type of result. But, I don't know what it was. I just came into the market at a prime time. But quickly after that, I was shown that you have to actually have systems. You got to have a follow-up process. You got to have a strategy to succeed.
Man, so many people get stuck in that experience and inexperience. They just pick in the lowest hanging fruit, right? And then they'll put it in some auto drip campaign and the CRM already has built out or something like that, and hoping that somebody will raise their hand again. And sometimes that works, but really, man, I found in my history, because we use a lot of VAs in our business as well, right? And of course, we're going to touch on that. But there's nothing that substitutes a human touch on the follow-up. Truthfully, I just transitioned from houses to land. I'm 100% in the land right now. And we're buying 2 to 3 houses a month on just our follow-ups. Like, no.
Man, that is awesome, brother. That is awesome.
Yeah. So talk to me about when you first started, what was your first hire? How did you start getting into the VA world?
Well, once I got a kick in the head and said, hey, I've got to actually do, follow-ups and create a system for this. I started to get consistently 1 or 2 deals a month, and I just couldn't break over that barrier. So my mentor, which was Tom at the time, and Joe McCall, they had a partnership to do a coaching. So I got lucky. I got both of them at the same time. So they were, telling me, hey, you gotta get out of your own way, man. I know that you feel really good about your skill set, and you come from a sales executive background, but you need help. You can't do it all alone. You can't be doing these $5, $6, $7 an hour tasks. It just doesn't make sense for what you're trying to do. When you are trying to get started in this business, what I had to do is get out of my own way. My mentors are basically telling me, if you want to, break past the 1 or 2 deals a month, you've got to bring on some people to help you out. And so that's a mindset shift, because I literally thought, hey guys, there's no one that's going to be able to do this like me. I'm the best, right? I'm good at what I do. If I hire somebody, they're going to drop the ball. I'm going to waste money in marketing. All these things were just a mindset shift. So my first hire was actually a cold caller, and it was horrible. My first 6 hires were horrible. I had horrible experiences. I didn't know what I was doing, how to train them. They weren't trained. I could tell that they weren't dedicated to my company. They called me different names sometimes. I was Jeff sometimes, because maybe that's someone else they worked for earlier in the day.
That's right.
So I failed with that at first, guys, because I just didn't know what to do or how to properly hire a virtual assistant.
Dude, 100%. I totally failed at that too. I mean, I think we went in, we were heavily into direct mail. We were doing like 25,000 pieces a month, right? And we dabbled into cold calling. We went into text. We dove into text, but we dabbled into cold calling. But I would just give them a script and maybe a day of training in tops, and hardly ever check in and wonder why our leads suck, right?
Exactly, right.
Like, and looking back, it was so stupid. You know what I mean? Because, intuitively, you got to train people. But now that I've gone down this rabbit hole, the same rabbit hole you have gone through, right? Mm-hmm. You understand the level of commitment it takes to get those VAs to be performing at a very high level.
100%. You hit it right on the head, Mike. You've got to have a good system in place, or you've got to get them from a good source. So guys, if you're looking out there and you're paying, $5, $6 an hour for a VA, you might get lucky and get a solid one, but most times you're not. And let me give you science on why that is the case. The reason is, guys, is because when you get a VA from an agency, let's say, they've got to take a cut and they've got to pay that VA. So if they're charging you $5-6 an hour, that VA is only making $2-3 an hour at most. So you're not going to get a high quality VA, and you're not going to get a VA that's going to be motivated and dedicated to only want to work for you. They're going to want to get outside work to keep the lights on, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. 100%. So going back to your journey and, you hire your first VA. I mean, you hire your first outbound. So for those that don't know, VA is virtual assistant. I think almost everybody would know that, but just in case. And truthfully, you know what? I had this conversation so many times recently, brother, from people that are not inside our industry and some realtors even, and they always are stuck on, like, how do you hire them? How do you find them? How do you train them? How can you possibly get results or good results or even great results from people from other countries, right? Now, I know what my answer is. I'd love to hear what your answer is on that.
Yeah. Great question, man. It's not easy to do, guys. That's what I'm telling you. You really have to spend time either having a process on how you're going to do it, or you need to find a company that can facilitate that on your behalf. So guys, not trying to, toot my own horn, but that's exactly why I started REI World Solutions, because I knew the challenges that folks, I knew I couldn't be the only one going through these challenges of training folks, spending 2 or 3 days training, spending a week or two. They might work for 2 weeks and then disappear.
Yeah.
Or, all kinds of things were happening. So with REI World Solutions, guys, you're getting a college educated, a professionally trained, monitored, managed virtual assistant. That's a different ball game. It allows you to keep doing what you do, but we'll help you with that process by, again, managing and monitoring that VA for you.
Dude, that's huge, man, because that's such a big value add, right? Because, and this is something I say all the time. I think COVID really helped a lot because everybody obviously has gone virtual, right? And people don't quite understand that you could find somebody overseas that's college educated. I mean, I had a lawyer working for me. I think I paid her $8 an hour. She was happy as heck. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
She was from South America, right? But these people are, they just like us. They want to earn a living and they want to work from home as well, right? And what we're paying them is more than what they can make, at home. And on top of it, what you're providing and what is essential to really have a great VA team is quality control. Right? You got to have somebody overseeing them because people are virtual. They have a tendency of slacking off. They have a tendency of, try to get away with things, and you got to be on top of it. Right? What do your systems look like as far as that's concerned?
I mean, you're hitting all the spots. That's why we monitor and manage that VA for you. We also provide you, the client, the ability to monitor your own VA. So each 10 minutes, your VA's screen is getting screenshotted. So you're going to get a report on that. Your VA checks in every morning. Hey, good morning. I'm here. At the end of their shift, they're going to say, hey, this is what we've done. We've made 400 calls. We had 32 contacts. We've got 2 leads. I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah. Whatever the case is, that you need someone who's going to be checking in with you daily. Communication is going on daily. You cannot just hire somebody, guys, throw money at like a VA and speak to them once a week or once a month and think that, you're going to get a good result from that. It'll just be a waste of your time, energy, and effort.
It is. You got to even have to worry about that snapshot because they got a way of getting around that as well. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So Indeed. One of the things that we did is that this did not last long, but of course we're all on Slack and everybody's communicating all the time and making sure that, we're cohesive, but at one time we made sure everybody was on Zoom at the same time working just so that we could see everybody. Now, the problem with that was that for some VAs, it killed their bandwidth. Right. Mm-hmm. And so that's the reason why we had to stop that. But, we're always trying to tinker and stuff. But if you bring it in house, you got to do this yourself. You hire somebody, they do it for you. So it's just really what you want, out of that. Right. Let me ask you about your virtual wholesaling because I'm virtual. Are you nationwide?
I'm nationwide, brother. Nationwide.
Dude, talk to me about your marketing, man. What's your marketing look like, brother?
Man, we pull lists. First of all, we have particular markets that we target. My students are based nationwide, so I'm able to do deals pretty much everywhere. I've got buyers all over the nation. I've got about 4.3 million buyers I have access to 4.3 million cash buyers nationwide. So we have no problem closing up deals. with JV opportunities, which means joint venture.
Mm-hmm.
So we're everywhere. But when it comes to my personal business, guys, we're pulling lists. We're using, batch leads, prop stream to pull lists. We're using skip force to skip trace those leads.
Hey.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're putting those into a dialer system called Tools, and we're also using a text blasting platform, which is called Roar, that we utilize Roar.
You like Roar?
And that's, I love Roar. To me, it is the best as far as with compliance with this new March 1st change that came out.
Yeah.
They are the only company that has it nailed down. And I've tried them all. I don't want to name them.
I got you. I've tried them all too, brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So you like Roar? I'm gonna have to check Roar out because I haven't used it. That's the one company I haven't really used.
I'll connect you with my guy over there, man. He'll take care of you. The owner of the company, he'll take great care of you, man. Just let me know when you're ready.
Okay. All right. So you're primarily text blasting. I'm assuming you're cold calling as well. Are you doing
cold calling, text blasting? We do limited mailers. It's very targeted.
Yeah.
It's super targeted and small specific lists.
Well, you can't do nationwide. You know what I'm saying? And do
No
direct
way.
mail, man. That's way too expensive. I mean, our cost
way too hard.
direct mail was always around, I don't know, 3,500 to 4,500, depending on the area. Sometimes even higher, right? In Austin is higher, but we're all over Texas, and so when we were doing houses, we were in Tennessee and North Carolina as well. But it's really impossible to have that big of a reach on direct mail unless you're just you're super well funded.
You're splurging on money. There's no way to do that.
I agree, man. That's why we embrace telecommunications marketing and cold calling, texting, because you could just really cast a wider net. Now there's a argument like, do you go broad or do you go narrow, right? And I think that, I don't know if there's a right answer or a wrong answer there, but I think both of us chose to go broad. Why did you choose the virtual, that method rather than the belly to belly method?
Well, guys, it's because, again, you got to get out of your own way. With my model, I wanted to have a true business. I wanted to be able to scale and grow my business. If I'm going out to all these appointments, shaking hands, looking at houses, I'm doing my business a disservice. My time can be utilized much more better thinking about how to grow the business versus working in the business so heavily. So that's why we went nationwide. Even I'm based here in Atlanta, Georgia. Even deals that we get here in Atlanta, I still treat them as a virtual deal. Like I don't have involvement in my wholesale deals for number one. We've got a team that does that. But if I were to get involved, I would still treat it as a virtual deal, meaning that I'm not going out to see the property. I'm not doing any of that stuff. That's a waste of kind of time for me. But if you guys are getting started, I definitely highly recommend you getting some reps in with doing that, getting some reps in with the belly to belly. But if you want to go big and you want to scale nationwide, and having the virtual model is the way to go.
I think that's a great segue because I was belly to belly for a long time, right? That's how we started. And I think, and to your point, I agree with you, man. I think you should start, belly to belly. And truthfully, you'll buy it deeper, right? More than likely, you'll buy it deeper. They won't ghost you and all this other stuff as easily. It's hard for them to kick you out of the house. You know what I mean? But it's really easy for them to hang up on you if your tonality or something isn't said perfectly, right? But with that being said, what I liked about the virtual model is that as we grew our business and as we put the people around us, I'm the same as you. I haven't seen the last 200 houses that we purchased, right? And all I do is just, obviously deal with the contracts and maybe some issues, if there's some title issues or something like that. And it's a great place to be. But at the same time, you got to really work your way up there. You can't just go crazy and try to do this without understanding the process. It's so important, right? So tell me a little bit about your process, right? When the lead comes in, what happens from then to contract and sale?
Yeah, guys, for our wholesale aspect of the business, because we do wholesale, we do creative finance or creative deals, which involve lease options, sandwich lease options, sub-2 owner finance. And we also do land. We've gotten into land since last year. So that's why I was excited when you said land. I'm like, man, yes, because land I love land. And it's so different than houses. And we can get into that if you like. But yeah, guys, right now, for a house deal, when the lead comes in, our acquisition manager takes that lead, gets it under contract. Once it's under contract, we ship it over. We farm it to our buyers.
When it comes in from your ISA, does it go straight to the AM? Is that
it goes into a CRM? Yep, okay. They send it over into our CRM as a lead,
Right.
And the acquisitions managers are checking those, those constantly. And they get an alert as soon as it comes in. So they'll go in, check it out, see what the situation is, give the folks a call, and their job is to get that property under contract. Once it is under contract, we'll shoot it over to dispositions team. Dispositions will work on getting it closed out, getting it matched with one of our qualified cash buyers, and working through the closing process with our closing attorneys.
Okay. All right. So do you ever do a live transfer whenever your ISA says, hey, I got a hot one, right? We call it in our business, we call it a fire lead. So we got a fire lead, and then we have a channel in Slack saying that we have a fire lead. Then we have all AMs on board. Do you try to do live transfers or no?
We have tried that, but we weren't very successful with it. Let me just put it to you like that. We did try that method, but we found that it was a little bit better for our follow-up to be able to utilize the way that we do, which is say, hey, this is Jeff. You spoke with my partner, Shirley, earlier today. So it makes it a warm transfer. Like you say, the hot things, they just didn't work for us. We have the ability to click into any call and break into any call that comes through with using our dollar system. Call tools allows us to do that. So we did try that out. We tried that out, and it just didn't work for us.
I get you, man. I get you. I mean, it doesn't work all the time either, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the issue that we had problem with, and I love to hear how you kind of worked around this, was re-engagement, right? Like we got a hot deal, but then getting them back on the phone, sometimes was a process, you know what I mean? And so we were like, how do we close that gap? How do you guys navigate that problem?
That is a great question, man. We have not navigated that problem to a T, like meaning we've not mastered that, because you're right. Even when your VA sends over a lead that says, hey, they want to call in 5 minutes, they're ready to sell, you might not reach that person for 5 weeks. And there's really no rhyme or reason that we've been able to figure out why, because we do address the lead as soon as it comes in. We're on it. So there's nothing other that we can do aside from, jumping into that call as they're on that lead, disconnecting and jumping in right then and there. And that's just not our model. So that is a challenge that you definitely will face, guys. So don't be discouraged when that happens. You stay diligent. You keep following up until you get that person back on the phone.
I got to add to that too, brother. I mean, and your follow-up needs to be so strong that first week. I'm talking about, like, if you don't feel like you're stalking them, you're not following them.
Indeed, right? They always got to kind of tell you, hey, man, leave me alone, or hey, I want to get back with you. Got to it's got to be like that, guys. Your outreach has to be massive. It has to be massive, guys. You want people to tell you to leave you alone, or we have sold this property. You don't disqualify a lead until they told you don't call me again, or that property's been sold.
That is always the biggest issue I had when people are coming in a new AM. They're like, well, I don't want to bother them. I'm like, your job is to bother them, brother. Your job, you have to understand the mind of the avatar of the seller, right? I mean, they are calling or they're saying yes right then, but they'll get distracted or something else will happen, and maybe the next 30 minutes are okay, and then tomorrow they're going to freak out again and they need to sell, and so it's the person that's going to be in front of them when they're ready to make the move and make that connection with them. It's usually the person that gets the deal.
100%. And to make a point that you spoke on earlier, guys, the person who's belly to belly, who has good conversational skills, good rapport building, they're going to beat out someone who's on the phone every time. But what we find here in our industry is that a lot of folks are trying this out, and they're thinking this is like a get rich overnight type of deal, right? So they'll try our business and our industry out, and they're face to face, belly to belly, but they just don't have the skill set to execute, or they don't have the mindset to do it properly, should I say.
Yeah. I mean, so if you are starting out, I mean, because what should you learn first? Is it sales? Is it marketing? I mean, obviously you have to have the operations piece, but I mean, you know what I mean? Which one is it? It's like a chicken and egg thing, right? I mean,
it is.
The phone ringing, there's a lot of people that get that phone ringing and they don't know how to handle that phone call, right?
It is, brother. It is like a chicken or the egg, which comes first, right? But I'm going to tell you, marketing and sales, that's all this is, really. That's all that we're doing. So you have to focus on really both. I can't put one over the other, because without marketing, there's no sales opportunity. And without sales, the marketing is worthless. So you really need to develop both skills. They are both highly important. And if you're wholesaling, guys, just don't get too caught up in the real estate part of the business. Think about more what Mike just said, which is marketing and sales. If you become a great marketer and salesperson, you'll do great at wholesaling.
Dude, that's so on point, man, because I was never in sales. I started this journey probably about 8 years ago, right? And so I dove into the Sandler system and just really became a master of the Sandler system, right? And then throughout the years, I've added other things like most people, the Chris Voss's technique and the book Gap Selling and as I evolve, I'm still adding things. Talk to me about, because I know you have a sales background, right? Talk to me about your foundation and how you develop that.
Yeah, that guys, that was huge. My sales training and my sales background, I don't minimize the impact that it had on my career. 100%. It taught me how to communicate. I had repetitions. I already had the ability to be able to sit down and dial, make 100, 200 calls before I'm calling it a wrap for the day. I already had that kind of in me. So it was an easy transition to be able to transfer those skills to be able to utilize for my own advantage, for our own business purposes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a big one, especially if you're going to go virtual, because the tone, every single thing about that conversation is important. The tonality, the question, the positioning of the questions. All that stuff, because it's so easy for them just to hang up and go, this isn't for me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so to master that piece, I guess you're right, man. You're 100% right, because you have to do both of them together. And I think another big mistake a lot of newbies make is they just don't put enough money into marketing. Right. And they don't stay with it long enough.
Yes, they'll try it out. They'll dabble. They'll throw it like a dart at the board. Oh, yeah, let me see if that works. No, guys, you're just going to, whatever money you just threw out there, consider it a waste. If you're not going to be willing to be consistent with your marketing, month after month after month, don't even do it. It's just going to be a waste.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. I love talking to you, man. Let me ask you this, dude. What is the one thing you're doing in your business right now that's really kind of moving the needle?
Man, the thing that we're doing right now is we've understood the shift in the market, right? So we haven't let we're still getting wholesale deals, but we haven't let the slowdown of the wholesale deals affect the rest of our real estate business. So we've just cranked it up with doing more subject to deals, more sandwich lease option deals, more creative deals. Mm-hmm. We're being more creative because the market is dictating that. We're running into folks now who are in pre-foreclosure phase. They're running into foreclosure. They don't want to get into foreclosure. They've lost their job. The economy is tough out here, guys. Rates are high. A lot of factors are playing into why we have shifted our model to be more focused on more of the creative strategies and the land strategies right now, more so than the wholesale deals.
Dude, I agree with you 100% on that, man. Creatives are huge, mainly because you've got a lot of people that are still, people are messy, right? That's why we have a job. And we try to help them out of it. And sometimes the best way to help out, because a cash offer is not going to work, right? Mm-hmm. Is to take over that loan, which is historically unbelievably cheap, right? 3.5%, 3%, or whatever, right? And you take over that loan, and then you could definitely do something and add to your portfolio. So I think that's a massive strategy that you have to really understand and specialize in this next couple of years.
100%. If you don't, guys, you got to get it. You got to get that strategy under your belt. I promise you guys, if you don't do it, you'll just be kicking yourself when years have passed by and you've missed out on the opportunity to maximize during this time period, during this phase. You've got to know how to shift when the market shifts, when the economy shifts. You can't keep doing the same thing that you did 5-6 years ago. It just doesn't work.
I agree, man. What do you see? What do you think is going to happen? I know nobody has a crystal ball, and truthfully, nobody really knows. But in your perspective, what do you think is going to happen next 6 to 12 months?
Well, I see. I'm hoping that interest rates will kind of start to balance out a little bit. The market, home values, the sellers will start to understand what market we're in, which is we're in a buyer's market right now. So the prices that homes are being put out on the market for will come down a little bit. We'll see more people get involved with the fixing and flipping aspect, because right now they're being conservative because the interest rates are high. Their lenders are conservative. It's a trickle down effect, guys. It affects everyone. So I see those things change, and I see people are going to start getting back into fixing and flipping. I see that the interest rates are going to come down. These are just predictions, guys. I'm not Nostradamus, but I'm hoping that interest rates are going to start coming down, which will allow folks to get more involved. in the business again.
Yeah, you know what I'm seeing is funny since we transitioned to the land side is that people are going like new construction is starting to ramp up again, right? I mean, and you know we're having zero issues selling off our land deals, disposing our land deals. I mean, we have some outliers, of course, you know, just like there's fallout and everything, right? But I thought that was really interesting to me because builders are not, I mean, I think builders obviously contracted there for a little bit, but now they're starting to ramp back up again because they're always forecasting, you know, in the future, obviously, right? And we're undersupplied right now in a lot of markets.
Indeed. Yeah, guys, the cost of goods at almost doubled. So there was a lot of factors while building and all that stuff that slowed down. But like we're saying, things are starting to slowly make a shift back towards being conducive for those folks to be more involved in the market.
Yeah. So I want to pivot just a bit here, brother. So a part of our podcast is about the entrepreneurial's hero's journey, right? So we have a segment called Shitstorm that, you know, every one of us has gone through multiple of them probably, right? And I know that you shared one whenever you were going through your transition from corporate to this. What is one that really stands out to you, and what was the lesson that you kind of learned from it, and you know what happened after?
Guys, I'm telling you that my biggest lesson, my biggest failure in being in real estate, and my biggest lesson was right at the beginning, guys. It was me not realizing that this is a true business. I had to get rich overnight kind of mentality because I thought, like, man, this is so easy. Like I can do whatever I want to do it. I don't have to focus or you know have systems in place to ensure that this would happen. No, guys, that was a huge mistake, and that was a crippler for me almost. It almost literally crippled me. Yeah, I had good money. I'd made a good chunk of money, but I was almost back down to, you know, where I'm considering, hey man, I need to go get a job or something again.
Yeah, and you got family, you got kids.
Yeah, I've got responsibilities 100%. So I want you to know, guys, those are normal fears, so to speak. They're normal thoughts to have. Don't let them override you, guys. Don't let them get you and control you. You've got to take this business and approach it like one of my buddies, Tom Crow, says. You got to pretend someone has kidnapped your family, and you're not getting them back until you get a deal under contract. You deal from those perspectives and from that angle, you tell me what you'll make as an excuse to not get your family back and get a deal under contract.
That's powerful, brother. You're absolutely right, man. And, you know, one of the things that I think that if you can afford it, okay, now you could get things on YouTube for free, obviously, right? But it takes a special person to learn from YouTube and really, really apply it. But if you have a little bit of means, right, get a coach. You know,
get you a coach
that's been there, that's doing deals that's to me is super important, that are actually doing deals and man, that'll expedite that learning curve. And I know that you are a coach, right? I don't know how big of a business as far as like in comparison to your wholesale, how much percentage is that for you? But I know that you provide that service. If you want to talk about that.
Sure, guys. Yeah, I provide coaching by default. You know, I saw, just like my VA business, I started coaching because I saw so many people needed the help. I start putting out free information. I understand that free information is not always good information sometimes to some people. It's just a mindset thing. So, you know, I figured, hey, let's formalize this. Let's put together a system. Let's put together a method that I like to call the smart wholesaling method to help folks actually find success doing this business. And so that's what I do. I help folks all over the nation get to their first or next few deals and build a business.
That's awesome. I mean, you got to find a coach that you resonate with, right? Because there's so many of them, and the vibe check to me is super important, because I've had coaches where I felt like I was bothering them. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then I've had other coaches where I knew that they had my back, right? And it's such a big difference, right? It's such a huge difference. Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, where can they find you, brother?
Guys, I'm at Nationwide Real Estate Mastery. That's my podcast. Nationwide Real Estate Mastery is a YouTube channel. Nationwide Real Estate Mastery is my TikTok and my Instagram. So guys, that's pretty much the way that you can find me. NationwideRealEstateMastery.com is also my website, guys. Head on over to the website, schedule a call with me. Let's see if we'd be a good fit to work together. I love to speak with you. I actually do take my own sales calls for my coaching business. So you will be speaking to me because we've got to see if it's a fit. I only take 10 students a month. So yeah, that's how you can reach me, guys. REIWorldSolutions.com is the virtual assistant company as well if you need your professionally trained VA.
Awesome, man. You dropped some gems today. I appreciate you being here, brother. And look forward to connecting sometime soon, man.
Absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to it anytime.
All right, brother. Hey, that's a wrap. We'll see you guys on the next episode. So that's a wrap. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you received value from this episode. If so, please share this podcast with your friends so we can help more people just like you. Also, hook up with us on Facebook, IG, and YouTube at REIL Talks. That's REIL Talks. So until next time, keep it cool and keep it real.